Every year on March 20th, the United Nations releases the World Happiness Report. This index evaluates global well-being based on several key metrics: average income, the strength of social support systems, personal freedom, and the absence of corruption. The results often follow a familiar pattern. Nordic nations like Finland and Denmark consistently lead the rankings, establishing the global benchmark for a society that supports its citizens. Compare that to the trajectory of India. The country is an undeniable economic powerhouse, with a steeply rising GDP curve. Yet its global happiness ranking remains low. In 2024, it sat at 126th place out of 143 countries. This gap becomes even more visible when looking at neighbors like Pakistan and Nepal. Despite navigating severe economic crises, these nations often plot higher on the happiness axis than India. It appears that defining a nation's success in purely economic terms, like stock market growth or total GDP, misses the reality of the individual experience and the functionality of the social safety net. Relying on financial data alone hides a deeper societal tension, suggesting that a massive portion of the population is navigating a crisis that macroeconomic reports are not designed to see. Within Indian society, there is a prevailing view that men navigate the world with a high degree of systemic and patriarchal advantage. However, data from the National Crime Records Bureau, the government agency that tracks national safety and mortality statistics, shows a different reality. According to their records, over 72% of all suicides in India are committed by men. This means that in any given year, Indian men take their own lives at a rate approximately 3 times higher than women. Despite the scale of these losses, this remains a silent epidemic, rarely discussed in mainstream public discourse. The data suggests that underneath the surface of perceived social advantage, there is a systemic vulnerability that is being consistently overlooked. Much of this pressure stems from a cultural structure that defines a man's worth by his role as the family's sole breadwinner. When financial shocks occur, such as unemployment, business failure, or debt, it often shatters this core identity, leading to severe psychological distress. This burden is particularly heavy for daily wage laborers, who face the immediate and exhausting pressure of securing survival for their families every single day. Salaried professionals face a different version of this trap, balancing relentless corporate demands against increasing domestic expectations. For married men, the weight is often compounded by domestic responsibilities and marital discord, which emerge as significant factors in the national suicide data. This crisis is further intensified by a fear of legal complications, including the potential for false cases, damaged reputations, or the loss of child custody. Collectively, these factors suggest a societal framework that treats men as disposable economic tools, rather than individuals in need of support. This environment is sustained by cultural conditioning. Phrases like "boys don't cry" or "mard ko dard nahi hota," which translates to "men don't feel pain," are taught from a young age. This creates a culture of suppression, where men are expected to silence their trauma rather than seek help for it. The result is a profound emotional isolation, where men feel cut off from friends, family, and professional mental health resources. Society has built a high-pressure environment of financial and social expectations, while simultaneously removing the avenues for emotional relief. These statistics from the National Crime Records Bureau connect directly back to the core metrics used in the World Happiness Report. National well-being depends on robust emotional safety nets, as much as it depends on economic growth. For India to improve its happiness standing, the country must address the rigid gender roles that equate a man's existence